Pimped out cars, tough guys, and legendary one-liners. For 25 years now, the Fast and Furious universe has been delivering non-stop action, breathtaking stunts, and of course, the most important theme,
family.
Across 10 films, we've followed the journey of Dom Toretto and his crew, but now the saga is inevitably approaching the finish line. Part 11 is rumored to mark the definitive end, which has the rumor mill in overdrive. What happens in the grand finale? Which stars are making a comeback? And does this really mean the end of the main series? We've got all the latest facts for you, so buckle up for a new original. Planned Fast and Furious spin-offs for the in-between. Back in 2023, Dwayne Johnson announced another spin-off. Titled Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Reyes, this film was intended to bridge the narrative gap between parts 10 and 11. This offers a clever way to deal with the villain in a separate adventure before the massive finale begins. Since the initial announcement, however, there have been no updates on this project. Vin Diesel also brought another project into the mix, a prequel set immediately before the final installment of the saga. He already directed a short prequel for Part 4 titled Los Bandoleros. When asked if a similar short film was planned, Diesel teased a potential desert scenario. He noted that while the team filmed in the Middle East for Part 7, they had never ventured deep into the desert. Our take: it's extremely unlikely that these spin-off projects will actually see the light of day before Part 11. The whole thing feels more like a trial balloon to gauge the fanbase's reaction. The studio's full attention is certainly focused on the grand finale of the saga right now.
It's about time.
The 11th chapter has officially been named Fast Forever, continuing the tradition of conjuring up a creative title variation for each sequel. Whether Fast Forever actually brings the series to a close will likely be decided by the box office in the end. Originally, there was even talk of an entire trilogy serving as a finale. However, since Part 10 fell short of the sky-high expectations, Universal Pictures prefers not to take any more risks. If the upcoming film breaks the bank financially, though, further sequels from the studio are definitely a possibility. In terms of content, Vin Diesel is aiming for a return to the series' roots. Saving the world takes a back seat, replaced by grounded street action and hopefully thrilling quarter-mile duels. Jason Momoa has already called for more classic races as he sorely missed these elements in Fast X. This move serves not only as fan service, but is also a strategic decision to keep finances under control. Production costs have literally skyrocketed in the past. While Part 9 still required $200 million, Part 10 gobbled up a whopping $340 million. At the same time, global box office receipts are shrinking. With a gross of about $705 million, the 10th film was a financial balancing act, as blockbusters often need to bring in 2 to 3 times their budget to be profitable.
I know!
For Part 11, the budget is therefore reportedly being cut back to a cap of $200 million. That's still a massive sum, but a huge cut compared to its immediate predecessor. It remains to be seen in which areas we'll notice these cost-cutting measures on screen. The blockbuster franchise traditionally boasts a massive ensemble cast, and those who disappear from the scene for a while often make a big comeback a few films later. One of the most pressing questions for the Fast and Furious finale is therefore, who will take on the role of the antagonist? In Fast X, Jason Momoa is shown as the eccentric villain Dante Reyes and was met with absolute enthusiasm from fans. Nevertheless, his return is hanging in the balance. Persistent rumors suggest that Universal Pictures is seriously considering replacing him with a fresh adversary.
It's so disrespectful.
There are 2 main reasons for this. First, Vin Diesel was reportedly upset that Momoa stole the show from the rest of the cast.
That's not what I had in mind.
After all, internal friction is no rarity in this franchise, as the famous conflict between Diesel and Dwayne Johnson proves. Second, the shrinking budget is forcing those in charge to rethink their strategy. Behind the scenes, people are wondering whether the studio can even afford the salary of a superstar like Jason Momoa when it already has to pay top earners like Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson. However, there has been no official confirmation regarding the cast at this time. The studio's cost-cutting measures also make another casting wish highly unlikely. In an interview, Vin Diesel floated the name of Oscar winner Robert Downey Jr. as the new villain. Diesel envisioned him as a wealthy tech billionaire who relies on AI-driven cars, the perfect counterpart to Dom's strong focus on the human family.
Family.
However, this idea is likely just wishful thinking. Downey Jr. is fully involved in the upcoming Avengers projects and is certainly anything but a bargain. Thus, the question of the final antagonist remains completely unresolved. Despite all the speculation, the dramatic cliffhanger at the end of Part 10 strongly suggests that the story surrounding Dante Reyes will continue.
Some things you just have to take on faith.
In mid-2025, a completely unexpected announcement caused quite a stir. According to Vin Diesel, he tied his participation to 3 strict conditions. The story must return to Los Angeles, there needs to be a return to street racing, and a reunion between Dom and Brian O'Connor. The last point in particular raises major questions. Brian's portrayer, Paul Walker, tragically died in a car accident in 2013. While his character lives on in the film universe, he has stepped back from the dangerous action. In Part 7, he received a fitting farewell with the help of his brothers Caleb and Cody, as well as elaborate digital effects, a scene that remains the emotional highlight of the series for countless fans to this day. Exactly how Brian O'Connor will be integrated into Fast and Furious 11 remains unclear. The most likely scenario is a relatively small appearance, once again achieved through CGI, body doubles, and perhaps AI this time around. Whether fans will celebrate such a digital appearance, however, is another matter entirely. The all-important question remains: what would a definitive finale for the main series even entail? One specific possibility stands out as a strong possibility. Dom Toretto meets his end in Fast Forever. While this would certainly deliver a massive emotional shock, it would also provide an absolutely fitting conclusion. Dom has always risked everything for his family. A heroic exit suits him perfectly. In this way, following the end of Paul Walker's character, Dom's long journey would also find its ultimate conclusion. At the same time, the numerous other characters could still embark on their own adventures, just detached from the main series, much like in Hobbs and Shaw. Louis Leterrier is once again taking the director's chair, having already stepped in for Justin Lin on the previous film. Quite some time has passed since the release of Fast X in 2023, while filming for Part 11 is still a long way off. So what's the problem? Reacher star Alan Ritchson explained the situation in an interview with Screen Rant. We talk about it quite often. That is one of the biggest challenges that franchise faces, is that you've got a lot of guys like Dwayne and Vin and Momoa and myself, and everybody's super busy. At least there are occasional signs of life. In November 2024, Vin Diesel posted a photo straight from the set. Even if these were likely just initial test shots, it's a strong sign. The actor is a master at using social media to drum up excitement. After a long back and forth, however, a firm date has finally been set on the calendar since January. Fast Forever is set to hit theaters on March 17th, 2028, so we'll still need to be patient for a while. Our take? The sheer chaos surrounding the supposedly final Fast and Furious movie fits perfectly with the entire series. Everything keeps getting bigger and more over the top, leaving you wondering in the end, where is this actually going? On the one hand, the franchise reliably delivers wonderfully absurd spectacle. On the other hand, the constant emphasis on
Family.
almost becoming a running gag. We sincerely hope that the finale finally shifts down a gear and returns to its roots. Hobbs, Shaw, or Reyes can then handle all the other madness. There's definitely no shortage of suitable candidates for spin-offs. What are your hopes for the future of the series? Is this the right time to wrap up the franchise? Or do you want to see more movies? Do you love the down-to-earth street action of the early films? Or are you really enjoying the sheer madness of the latest installments? Let us know in the comments. We can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Why would an accountant even think of hiring?